Please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And like so many speakers before me, I wish to begin by paying tribute to the member for Weaver Vale for bringing this important debate forward on chronic obstructive pulmonary disorder and on World COPD as well. A day to raise awareness of the fact that this condition is chronic, it's long-term and it doesn't go away, it's obstructive because the airways are narrowed and make breathing very difficult, and it's pulmonary, it affects your lungs. And the theme of COP World Day is Healthy Lungs, Never More Important. And this year's aim is to highlight that the challenge of COPD remains in spite of the ongoing global COVID pandemic. Even as we continue to battle COVID, COPD remains a leading cause of death worldwide. It's a terrible condition and it affects millions, and the pandemic and long COVID has highlighted this condition, which includes emphysema and chronic bronchitis. Of course, it cannot be cured or reversed, but with treatment it can be managed so that it doesn't severely limit daily activities. However, we also know that despite treatment, COPD can deteriorate and eventually have a significant and debilitating effect on the quality of life and lead to life-threatening challenges. And as we've heard today from almost every speaker, whilst the main cause is smoking, some cases are caused by long-term exposure to harmful dust or fumes. Worryingly, the National Institute for Health and Care Excellence in 2016 found an estimated 3 million people have COPD in the UK, of which 2 million are undiagnosed, with an estimated 140,000 cases in Scotland and another 200,000 people undiagnosed. Now, the Scottish Government is taking action through the development of its Respiratory Care Action Plan, which sets out priorities to support the prevention, diagnosis and treatment of respiratory conditions. And it's vital that those with these conditions can access safe, effective and person-centred care, treatment and support. And to that end, the Scottish Government's Respiratory Care Action Plan for Scotland, published in March, outlines a strategy for improving prevention, diagnosis and care, treatment for those living with respiratory conditions such as COPD. And currently, the Scottish Government is working with partners across health and social care and the third sector, as well as people with lived experience, to develop an implementation programme. And this will make clear the funding commitments that will be brought forward to promote the plan. There's also important work going on to learn more about COPD, such as working with the EU to discover, strangely, why Stranraer in Scotland has higher than average rates of the condition, despite average smoking rates, with the EU providing €7.7 million of funding for the project last year. And the Scottish Government will move forward with the implementation of the Respiratory Care Action Plan for Scotland over the course of this Parliament. And I wish and continue to tackle smoking in Scotland, and I wish to pay tribute to the cross-party group on lung health in the Scottish Parliament, established and so ably chaired by Emma Harper, MSP. Indeed, the lobbying of this cross-party group was instrumental in the publication of the Respiratory Care Programme. We all understand the correlation between COPD and smoking. But despite some of the lowest smoking rates in Europe, smoking leads to a significant number of deaths across the UK every year, including through COPD. But we've come far in the fight against it. For example, currently around 15% of UK adults are smokers, which is one of the lowest rates in Europe, although this figure is slightly higher in Scotland at 19%, so we've got a wee bit more work to do as we move forward. But we have to bear in mind that there is a higher concentration of smokers in socially disadvantaged communities. And of course, we know there's a clear link between poverty and health outcomes. And that helps us understand why 35% of adults in the most deprived areas are smokers, compared to 10% in the least deprived areas. Smoking accounts for 16% of all deaths in Scotland in 2018 and around 10,000 deaths a year. And the figures in England are pretty much the same. Scotland's target for being smoke-free is 2034, with smoke-free being defined as 5% or less of the adult population being smokers. And to this end, a new tobacco strategy will be published in the next parliamentary session in Scotland. We continue to make progress with smoking rates, which have fallen 9% since 2003. But of course, we're all impatient for the pace of that to continue to increase. But of course, Scotland was the first part of the United Kingdom to prohibit smoking in enclosed public spaces in 2006, and that measure was introduced in the Scottish Parliament by a certain MSP called Kenneth Gibson. And of course, the rest of the UK followed in 2007. And although this measure was controversial at the time, the banning of smoking in enclosed public spaces is now accepted and is the undisputed norm. And all of these things can help us as we strive to make people healthier, help people live healthier lives and give up smoking. I wish to end by paying tribute to the British Heart Foundation, which does so much valuable work on promoting the importance of clean air and healthy lungs. And it's appropriate to do that on World COPD Day, and all year round the British Heart Foundation works to raise awareness of this condition, to make sure that everyone with COPD or who may have COPD has access to the care and information they need to manage their condition well, and to ensure that the rest of us who don't have the misfortune to suffer from it are more aware of it in our communities.